edition of Senior Showcase, where we honor a class of 22 outstanding representative. And we have a 2016 graduate of Prairie Ridge and a 2020 graduate of, I'll let him share that, but Ben Widger. How are you, Ben?
How's it going? Good to be here.
I appreciate you taking the time. First, you gotta show everyone that you got that quarantine hair going.
The quarantine goatee, yeah.
People
it's gross.
No, it's pretty impressive. Give me a side profile so we get the really full extent. Yeah, no, that's looking good. But that's probably a pretty standard college thing anyways, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like most people are just letting themselves go right now, so figured I'd hop on the bandwagon.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, just take a minute and just let us know where you've attended the last 4 years and your major, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, totally. So as of tomorrow, I will be graduating from the University of Missouri, Columbia. Go Tigers. And I will have obtained a bachelor's in journalism, studying advertising and strategic communications. So yeah, I mean, it's been a great 4 years, and I'm excited for the future post this pandemic. Hopefully things can settle down soon. But yeah, Mizzou was a great experience, and I'm sad that it's over, but excited for what's next.
That's outstanding. So my understanding is you guys are doing like a virtual thing tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's this weekend. They're doing some sort of online. Maybe it's tomorrow. I don't know. Yeah, some sort of online commencement thing. I'm not too sure.
Are you going to be part of that, or you're not sure yet?
Probably not. I probably won't tune in. I don't know if they're like going through and showing like your photo in like a long list. I don't know. That doesn't really entice me. I don't know. My mom might hop on and check it out, but I probably will not attend.
Okay, got it. Now, what went into your decision and who were the other schools that you were looking at when you were looking at Mizzou? What went into that?
Yeah, so I didn't really look into too many schools. I'd say it really was down to, I really wanted to go to Madison. And I had, really done everything I could to try to get in there. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. My sister went to Mizzou. She's 2 years older than me, so I had been down for family weekends, seen a lot of football games, and gotten to see the campus, and really fell in love with it. It was cheaper. They gave some money, and so when Madison fell through, it was really the best option. So.
Okay, great. So it was Madison, Wisconsin. Were there any other contenders that you looked at, or not really?
I went to Indiana for a tour and didn't really like it, so I kind of scratched that off. That was more so my dad just making me go to see a bigger school. But yeah, I really didn't do. I know a lot of kids sometimes spend summers traveling the country and looking at schools. I never really did that, which it worked out for me. I don't think I would have. I think it was really either Madison or Mizzou for me when I was a senior trying to decide. So
you said bigger school. So where's Mizzou fall on the scale? What's enrollment undergrad there?
I want to say it's north of 30, but not too much higher. It doesn't feel like a big school though, because it's pretty contained. Unlike Madison, which is, you got downtown and it's pretty spread out. And I know Iowa's the same way. So yeah, it feels smaller just because it's pretty contained, and then you got downtown right next door. So I didn't really ever feel overwhelmed, even the first time I was there visiting my sister and seeing things for the first time.
Tell me what it was like when you first arrived on campus as a new freshman. I mean, you show up there in August, right? You're in the dorms. Did you know who your roommate was going to be?
I did, yeah. I found him on Facebook, so that was nice. We got to talk all summer long and sort of get to know each other before we had to live in a tiny box together. So that was a positive.
What were those arrangements like, where you lived there?
It was small. I was in one of the older dorms,
What
Actually, I think
hall?
now
What hall
Hudson
were you?
Hall.
Hudson?
Hudson, yeah.
Okay.
Now they've built like 3 new dorms since I've been there, so I think it might be one of the 2 oldest ones there. So yeah, I mean, it was tiny and it was community style bathrooms. So we had our whole floor of guys and we all had to share the bathrooms. And yeah, I mean, it was strange. I don't even remember it. Like I try to think back and I don't even know how I did that.
Was it such a bad experience you blotted
No,
it out of your mind?
it wasn't bad. It was just uncomfortable to live such close quarters with someone, especially, you know, if you don't know them. I'm glad that we got along and things were fine, but yeah, it's just strange to look back at.
So obviously you weren't a fan of community living
No.
in the dorms. So I guess I should say, did you remain friends with your first roommate?
Not really. No, I I've been talking to him probably since fall of junior year. I mean, he was in a different fraternity and yeah, just kind of went separate ways.
Okay, so you brought up fraternity. So did that happen for you? When did you get connected? I mean, did you guys have Rush in the fall? When did you get involved with a fraternity?
Yeah, I went down June before my first semester and had summer welcome, and then I parlayed that into there was a summer formal rush thing that they set up.
Okay.
So I did that, and then had accepted a bid by the end of that weekend. So I was already involved before I even got to campus in the fall, which was nice because I sort of gotten to know my pledge brothers, and you know, we were already sort of friends. And then by the time we all got down there, we could just sort of hit the ground running.
All right. So what fraternity were you part of then?
I was in SAE, Sigma Alpha Epsilon.
Oh, okay. So what made you pick that fraternity?
Yeah, just going through the formal rush process. You got to like tour all the houses and talk to as many guys as you could, and just sort of weigh like what the best fit was. And actually, before I had gone through that, when I was visiting my sister, her boyfriend was in SAE. And so I got to know him and some of the older guys. So I was already sort of predisposed to that group. And I think
So you
that
had an
probably,
in. So
yeah,
you had a bid waiting for you.
I did.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah. So
So
that played a factor for sure.
So was that something that you had thought about all along when you were in high school that you wanted to do? Did you have family members that went through it? I mean, what made you decide that was an area you wanted to pursue?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I had been thinking about it in high school and dreaming of being in a fraternity, but more so I just wanted to make some friends and make the thought of starting this new life at a, you know, decently big campus less daunting. So it was more so just sort of to help me get through and, you know, meet people and make it a more fun experience.
Now, when you went down to Mizzou, were there other PR folks down there, either ahead of you or coming down with you that you were good friends with, or not?
Yeah, ahead of me, there was Sam Wheeland, who I would see out, and you know, we would talk, but we weren't really super close. And then my grade, it was Sloan, who we were, you know, we're pretty close, and then Michael Moran, Morgan Rydell, Dean Brown, and I think there were a couple others that I really didn't know too well, but I think there were maybe like 7 or 8 of us from PR.
Oh, it was a pretty big group.
Yeah.
Did you guys connect at all or not, or was everyone kind of their own separate way?
Yeah, I mean, I remember at least early on, freshman year, sophomore year, you know, we would hang out more, and then I guess just sort of as, you know, we progressed, you know, and had our specific groups, it was less. and not to, I never really hung out with, other than Sloan, I never really hung out with Michael or Dean much in high school. So, I don't think it was, anything that wasn't already normal. So.
Okay. So then talk about fraternity life and kind of what that involved for you the first year or two there.
Yep. So, I mean, right away in the fall is the busiest semester by far. Right when you get there, there's already, you're starting homecoming prep, which usually happens sometime in October is the homecoming week. So, I mean, there's, all sorts of things to get done. And, a lot of the busy work, I like to call it, falls on the freshmen and the new members. So, you get paired with the sorority, and, you got to do all sorts of things. There's, a skit, there's dance, there's philanthropy. There's a lot of stuff that you can spend a lot of your time on. And so that was pretty much my first semester. And then, just getting to know your pledge class, bonding, and, figuring out, where you guys fit together. And then there's also a bunch of opportunities for you to get involved, which I did. I was pretty involved. And by the end of my freshman year, I was the academic chair. So going into my sophomore year, I was prepping for that over the summer. And then after that, I ran for president and somehow tricked them all into voting for me. So that was that.
Nice. So a couple things. Academic chair. So there's no doubt in my mind that SAE became the #1 GPA on campus.
No, I wish I could say that.
Hey, this was your chance to embellish.
Yeah,
but you
I will say you're only as strong as your weakest link, and there weren't some. I'll just be honest. There were some not so bright guys in that house, but that's okay.
So you probably blame the recruiting chair for that.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Now, a lot of close friendships come out of your experience then with SAE.
Yeah, I'd say there's probably 5 or 6 really close friends, and a handful of them were actually older than me, so kind of stunk having to go through senior year with them not being there. But yeah, I mean, those are there for life, and that was more than enough time to form those friendships and make some good memories.
Sure, and I know how good a student you are, and how much you take your schoolwork seriously and your involvement there. So tell me about, as you kind of, because there was, I mean, freshman first fall semester, academics, fraternity, social life, extracurricular, I mean, everything. There's a lot to juggle there. So what did you do? What kind of things did you put in place to help yourself navigate that?
Yeah, I mean, I just tried to, from a basic level, just set a schedule and get things done as early as I could, which didn't always go how I wanted it to. As a natural procrastinator, that tends to happen. But no, to be honest with you, I just sort of did the same thing that I had done in high school and that I had acquired from my 4 years at PR. And I honestly don't think it was too much of a shock going into the collegiate academic space. I don't think it really, took me by surprise in terms of difficulty and workload levels. So I don't know if I have a clear answer on something that I necessarily did. I just kind of, went through the same motions that I had been doing in high school.
Now, did Mizzou offer you AP credit and such for classes and AP classes that you took?
Yeah, so I didn't take too many. I took calc at PR, which I actually got 10 credits for, which is
10 credits.
Yeah,
Wow.
which is 2/3 of a semester. And then I took dual credit, which got me 8. So those two right there was pretty much a full semester. So that was nice because I got out of some time wasters.
Yeah, gen eds.
Yeah.
Wow, that's terrific.
Yeah.
And what made you pick journalism?
Yeah. I actually, when I had chosen to go to Mizzou, I was signed up to be in the business school. Um, and then just sort of had a change of heart last minute. I mean, my sister was in the journalism school studying graphic design. So I got to see the classes that she was in and, you know, sort of what she was working on. And it looked like a lot of fun, and it looked like something that would interest me to pursue for 4 years. So.
Now, when you brought up your sister, so maybe now's a good time for you. Can you introduce your family so people know kind of your family makeup and who's a part of
Yeah,
it?
totally. Yeah. So I got my mom. She owns her own business. She does some email marketing for businesses. My dad is a pharmacist. You might have run into him at Julasco before. And then my sister Emily, she's 2 years older than me. She's a graphic designer. And then I got a little brother Jack. He's in 7th grade right now.
Okay, terrific. Um, and when you bring up Wisconsin, I know that there's a little family lineage there. So I
Yep.
think when you came out of the womb, there was this pressure of a Badger logo. You probably
Right.
looked at one in your crib, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. My mom went there. My grandma went there, and 2 of my uncles went there. So
Wow.
spent a lot of time up in Madtown at football games and tailgates. So.
Well, tell us about that experience in Mizzou. Kind of, I'm assuming fall semester there. I don't recall 4 years ago how Mizzou's program was. You had Locke then, right? Who was there?
Yeah. So I mean, I went into it at a weird time because if you remember, there was that whole controversy with the football team,
Yeah.
and
Oh, that's right. Yeah, on
Pinkle
campus. Yeah.
Pinkle had just left, so there was this weird transition period. I think we had my freshman year was, I think, when Matty Mock was still there, and then Drew Lock was sophomore and junior year. Um, yeah, so I mean, obviously it wasn't Alabama. We weren't very successful in my 4 years there, but football games were fun. The fall was always great. The weather was awesome. Tailgating was a lot of fun.
What is that Como experience? Where do people go? Where do people tailgate? What's the layout? I mean, how's that work? What silly Tiger traditions?
Yeah, having been to Alabama for a weekend, I like to call it fake South. Um, you know, we're not. I don't think we're in the SEC. Have been in the SEC long enough yet. So it's sort of in this weird middle ground because I've been to a lot of tailgates in Madison, and then I've also been to a weekend in Alabama, and I feel like it's a pretty balanced mesh of the two.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of, you know, you'll find parking lots full. There's not a lot of grass. I know Alabama utilizes that huge quad, which was awesome. But yeah, just, you know, full parking lots. Fraternity houses are usually crammed with people. Maybe not so much this year, but yeah, I mean, just lots of tailgating, and then lots of late entrances midway through the second quarter of the home games.
Yeah, one of your counterparts said that over 4 years, she thinks she only attended 2 football games over that time.
Yeah, was that Sloan?
Were your numbers a little better than that?
They were. Yeah, I mean, more so my first 2 years. This year I went to one. Yeah, it wasn't the best. Past 2 years, the teams they fielded haven't been very successful, but that's okay.
Yeah, but the game they experienced was still probably brings you some fond memories.
Yeah, definitely, and a lot of it comes down to timing because not being a great school, we get a lot of those 11 o'clock games, and so those are just too early.
Oh, sure,
So
sure. Now,
that definitely factors.
what were some other go-to events or things to do at Mizzou? Campus activities, things that students really gravitated towards.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time on the quad. Super pretty. It's probably the most iconic place on the university. We got those gigantic columns in the middle of it. So just, whether I'm, reading a book or studying or throwing a football or frisbee, that's probably the busiest place, I'd say. People bring their dogs there. There's a lot to do. And so I don't know if there was really anything specific that I did other than just sort of take in being in such a pretty place and being able to just be outside more.
What's the background on the columns? Do you know your Tiger history there? I mean,
Yeah, so that was I think it was the old academic building that had burned down, and they decided to keep the columns there.
Okay. Now, is that a place that people just kind of, were they like traditions? Did you rub something before a test? I mean, some places have statues, or you got to walk under something, or if you want to get married, you got to kiss your girlfriend under something. I mean, I don't know all that, but
yeah. So freshman year, they do the Tiger Walk, where the entire freshman class is on the quad, and you're supposed to walk south through the columns, and then they have ice cream and stuff for you afterwards. And then when you're a senior, after you graduate, they do the I think it's called the Tiger Prowl, where you run north towards downtown, away from the university, and then they have a cup of beer for you. So sadly didn't get to sadly didn't get to partake in that, but
I was gonna say you got
I know.
Beer. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's some other things. I think I didn't get them all done, but there's this bucket list. I think it's 7 things you're supposed to do in your 4 years. I think I maybe did 3 or 4, but stuff like kissing the 50-yard line. There's this fountain by our student union that you're supposed to jump in.
Are you is that something that's encouraged, or is that kind of like the sneak thing that everyone has to do at one point? The fountain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they go over them at summer welcome, so.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't think they encourage some of them, but it's definitely something that everybody's aware of when they get to Columbia.
Did you do the fountain jump?
I did. I didn't kiss the 50 though. I think that's the only other one that I really wanted to do.
Oh, you kissed the 50. I thought you were supposed to kiss someone at the 50.
No. That would be that'd be a lot harder.
Well, with that being said, did you meet the future Mrs. Widger there on campus?
No. Nope.
No?
Can't say that I did.
Can't say that you did? Okay.
Nope.
All right, we'll leave that one at that. Activities. What are the go-to? Hey, this is the food I want to eat. Where do I go? I know that everyone calls it Como, right? Or when you go there, where do you go? What do you eat? What's that? If I go to Mizzou, I gotta like sample this food or this restaurant.
Right. So I'd say the most famous restaurant is Shakespeare's. It's a pizza place. We had Dave, who Dave Portnoy is. He's the barstool. He was actually in Columbia for like an hour to do a pizza review on Shakespeare's. I don't even think he scored it that well, but it's pretty iconic. There's a lot of great bars with solid food. Harpo's is a must visit. Campus Bar and Grill, which is referred to as Big 12, is another great spot. My favorite though is this International Tap House, which was actually right under my apartment complex. They got hundreds of beers, and it's you can spend a lot of time there and a lot of money there, which I did both.
So obviously after your junior year, the whole town of Columbia opened up to you, right? With restaurants and bars and places like that.
Actually, I turned 21 after my junior year, so it was really my senior year until I was able to not worry about anything.
Okay, so the International Tap House was the place you enjoyed. So when did you move off campus? Was that your sophomore year, junior year?
Yeah, I was in the fraternity house fall of sophomore year, which was off campus.
Yep.
And then I've been in apartments ever since.
Have you been in the same complex, or what's off campus housing like? I mean, do most leave after freshman year and live off campus, or I mean, kind of what's the norm?
Yeah, I'd say most, if you're involved in Greek life, you're going to spend your sophomore year in your respective house. And then there's tons of options for off-campus housing. There's brand new apartments pretty much every street you turn on. And then there's on the east side of town, there's a bunch of, cheap houses that, students can rent with their friends, and sort of this whole neighborhood of college students. So there's tons of options for everybody.
Now, is Columbia kind of the proverbial college town? I mean, how big's the town? What's it like? Is it Tiger Town or whatever you want to call it? I mean, what lives and breathes Mizzou?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice because it's kind of integrated into the university. So when you get to the end of campus, past the columns, you'll hit some restaurants and bars. But I mean, the important thing to know is that everything is in walking distance. I mean, you can walk from one corner of the university to the other corner probably in 15 minutes. And so, I mean, I never really had any trouble, on weekends, walking to places and then walking back. But there's a lot to do. There's lots of food, lots of restaurants, lots of bars. And when the weather's nice, I mean, just sitting outside and hanging out with your buddies is a lot of fun.
Yeah, in that part of Missouri, everyone talks about how beautiful it is. You just go a little out of town. Mm-hmm. Did you ever make any excursions to the Lake of the Ozarks or any of those places that a lot of people do?
Yeah, I had some buddies that had lake houses down there, so got away a couple weekends. It's definitely confusing down there, though. There's a lot of the Ozarks are pretty big, so I was sort of at the mercy of my buddies when I was down there.
So they could have abandoned you and you would not have been found somewhere in the back country of the Ozarks.
Nope.
Did
that would have been
bad. So obviously, I mean, so it's a fun experience, right? Overall, anything you would change looking back on your 4 years at Mizzou?
I mean, I'm sure there are some, but I don't personally like to think that way, just because, I am where I'm at right now, and, there's a reason for that. And so I don't like to, look back and dwell on things I could have done differently. There were good experiences, there were bad experiences, and there were a lot of great experiences. And so, they've all happened, and I am who I am now because of those. So I don't think I would go back and change anything.
Okay, great. Now, was there any thoughts for you to look for work anywhere other than back in the Chicago area? And we'll talk about kind of what's next here, but was there thoughts of wanting to stay down south, stay in Columbia or St. Louis or somewhere like that, or what went into your future thoughts there?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I love Columbia, but I'm not a fan of the neighboring cities of St. Louis or Kansas City. I haven't been to Kansas City too much, but I, as a Patriots fan, I can't like the Chiefs or anything Kansas City. And then St. Louis, I've been there a bunch, and I don't want to hate on anyone's city, but there's not much to do, and it's kind of dumpy. So.
All right. I was debating if we were going to bring up your Patriots love, but I guess an interview would not be complete if we did not discuss that. So, I mean, you brought up the Patriots. So what is that about, and where did that Patriot love come from?
Yeah. Great question. So, I mean, obviously I grew up in Chicago, but my dad is from Boston. He lived there until he was 15 or 16, and then he moved out here to Barrington. So yeah, I mean, ever since I was little, he sort of brainwashed me into being a Pats fan, and super happy about that.
Is that extended to Red Sox too?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
all four major sports.
Okay, so obviously inquiring minds want to know. I mean, are you still in mourning over a certain quarterback no
Yeah,
longer wearing the blue?
yeah. I mean, it truly is the end times right now. I don't know. This virus makes people do weird things. Tom thinks he can go play quarterback in Tampa for some reason. So we'll see what happens. I mean, he can do what he wants.
I mean, let's be honest. Uh, I know you worshipped Mr. Brady, but now are you like leaning to maybe having a little love for the Bucks, or are you like, no, man, you just us, you're out of here. You're talk to the hand. I don't want anything to do with you.
No, I actually burned his jersey last week. No, no, I love Tom. He's earned the right to do what he wants, and I will root for his success
Okay, nice.
for however many more seasons he's got left in him, which hopefully is a couple.
Okay. So what's the future plans for you now? So you went through your journalism. What was I know you there was a leaning towards advertising in there. So elaborate on that and then talk about what's next for you.
Yeah. So the journalism school is sort of the best way to describe it is that it's split into two. And on the one side, you have reporting, broadcast, all that sort of stuff, news editors, the typical stuff you think of when you hear journalism. And then the other side is strategic communications, which is advertising, public relations, graphic design, copywriting. So that's where I was. I had to take some media classes my first couple of years just to get into the journalism school. But most of my time was spent in PR classes, copywriting classes, advertising classes. So that's sort of what the degree was like for me. And yeah, I mean, right now I'm working at a media company doing some business development, sales, lead generation type stuff. So not exactly applicable to my major, which I think was my plan all along. It's pretty ambiguous in nature, and I sort of want to approach it with the mindset of being sort of like a Swiss Army knife that can do multiple things.
Mm-hmm.
Leave as many doors open as possible, especially right now during the pandemic. It's finding a job is not going to be as easy as it was 6 months ago. So just taking it one day at a time. I'm happy to be employed for the next couple of months and be able to weigh my options.
Okay, so you've got kind of a temporary job assignment now with a
Yep.
media company,
Mm-hmm.
and what kind of things did Mizzou have in place, either from networking or things like that, to kind of help students in approaching their fields, especially at the school of journalism?
Yeah, totally. Well, first of all, they put on a handful of career fairs, which they're always helpful, if not just to get experience talking to potential employers. You get to get your resume out there. You get to sell yourself, which I think is a skill that is invaluable. So yeah, I think those really helped me a lot. Just sort of prepare for future interviews and trying to find the right fits and sort of figuring out what to look at. So, that was great. And then just the whole alumni network. You can just scroll through LinkedIn and look at all these, huge companies, and they say, oh, 6 fellow Tigers are working there. So, that's great to have, and I think it's something that people should take advantage of. Reach out on LinkedIn. Let people know what you're looking for, and I'm sure that Mizzou alumni would be happy to help a fellow Tiger.
Well, let's take that and look at now, flashback to your time at Prairie Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I know that there were faculty members that impacted you there. First of all, do you feel Prairie Ridge kind of helped prepare you for Mizzou and what was coming next?
Totally. I mean, I know I said earlier to you, I didn't really feel overwhelmed at all. And, you know, part of me wants to say that college might have been a little easier than high school, for me at least. And, you know, a lot of that is just goes to the teachers and, you know, everything that they helped us with at PR. And, you know, they really definitely get us ready for the next 4 years. So for sure.
So who are those faculty or staff members that really made a huge impact on you looking back at your time at Prairie Ridge?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I don't have a bad thing to say about anyone that I've had at PR, but you know, the ones that stand out would be Mr. Powell. I had him for math freshman year, and then he was also my golf coach for 3 years, so we were pretty close. You know, we would go back.
Yeah, tell me about that relationship.
Yeah, it was great. He's a big sports fan too. He's I don't know if he's from Cleveland or not. I can't remember, but he's a huge Browns fan. So we would go back and forth and
the Browns were like the bottom of the barrel when you were at school, right? So
yeah. I mean, they really haven't done much since then, but yeah, it was just a great relationship. Like, you know, I would do stupid things like turn in my golf stats after a match or practice, and under name I would write Tom Brady or something dumb like that, and you know, he'd always get a chuckle out of it. So, you know, we still go back and forth every now and then when something happens. So
and then so obviously he had a impact on you both in the classroom and then, you know, helping you on the links. Who else academically kind of made an impact on you looking back at PR?
Yeah, Mrs. Powell was great. I had her for English sophomore year, and then I also had her all of senior year for bestsellers and creative writing. And, you know, having chosen a degree with a lot of writing in it, you know, everything that she's taught me has definitely stuck with me this whole time, and I will, you know, utilize that for the rest of my life. So, you know, she was a great teacher, but she was, you know, an even better person, and, you know, always pushed me to, you know, be creative and express my thoughts and have fun.
And anyone else, when you look back at staff and you still like, I got, you know, if you had the ability to go back to the school and say hi, I mean, is there somebody you got to seek out and say hi to?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot. I would definitely go say hi to the Taggies as well. I know they recently moved into our neighborhood, so I'll see them around every once in a while. But yeah, no, I loved my time with them, because I also associate all those dumb videos that Jacob and Nico and I would make for those classes. So that was always a good time.
Well, you know what, each of you have brought up those videos. You know, explain, what is it about those videos that seem to like have created such great memories for you guys?
It's just the stupidity involved in those, and the process of us just hanging out for an entire day and filming each other doing stupid stuff, and then turning that in and getting good grades on it just makes me laugh thinking back to it. But it's just spending time with my buddies and having fun and laughing and getting good grades for that is a fond memory.
So what's one thing that only maybe your immediate family would know about you? A little hidden talent, a quirkiness, other than being a Patriots lover, that people don't know about Ben Widger?
I don't know. I'd probably just say my competitiveness. Um, they've probably seen more so than anyone else, and even poor Jack. We've been playing basketball on the driveway, and I've been showing him no mercy despite the 8-year age gap and the height difference. So
So
I try to corral that
you're
in
you're
front of other people.
you're abusing a 14-year-old or 13-year-old.
It's bad. It's bad.
So tell me what happened to you regarding the quarantine and kind of how you handle that? Where were you? What happened?
Yeah, that was weird. So it was about a week and a half before spring break for me, and Mizzou made the call on a Wednesday that they were shutting down. They were going online until spring break, and then their plan was to resume afterwards at the end of March. So I drove home. We were going to go to Florida for spring break. So I left. I packed for Florida. I had a suitcase. And then we were literally about to leave, and we got word that our beach shut down. So we said, what the hell? So we just stayed. And that was in the middle of everything, all the dominoes starting to fall. And so that was close to the end of March. And then, obviously you see all these universities start to close for the semester, and it seemed like one just followed the next lead, and Mizzou did the same. And so I've pretty much been up in Crystal Lake since mid-March. I went down to my apartment in April to get some stuff and try to move out of my apartment as best I could. But yeah, I mean, just been hanging out up here since then, pretty much.
Okay. And how about with your friends? Have kind of an abrupt way, or what are you guys game planning to do to kind of reconnect and put closure on this as you guys are supposed to graduate this weekend?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a handful that are in the Chicago suburbs. I'm sure we'll connect once things start to ease. But I also have a handful that just headed straight for the Ozarks, which I don't blame them. If I had a lake house down there, I'd probably do the same. So I think right now just sort of waiting things out and seeing what happens, and hopefully things start to ease up, and we could get together.
Okay. So now picture you're 30 years old. Where are you? What are you doing? And kind of what's your dream job?
Good question. I don't know. Hopefully, I'm somewhere that challenges me every day and isn't repetitive. I think that's something that I've found that I've liked and enjoyed. I've had, a handful of internship experiences, and, there's been some where I had done the same thing every day and it was pretty boring. And, the one I'm at now, it's challenging, and it pushes me, and I'm, doing new things and growing. So, hopefully I'm somewhere that does that too and allows me to grow and, grow as a person in the business world and, creatively and, network wise, and, just be a better person. So I don't have a specific place in mind right now. I'm trying to figure that out and navigate all of this craziness right now. But yeah, just hopefully somewhere that gives me a good opportunity to grow and be better.
Any thoughts on parts of the country you'd want to live in?
Yeah, I'd be, I like Chicago. Chicago's definitely an option. I've been working with a place out in LA. I think that's something I would consider. And then, I would never be opposed to being near Boston and some fellow Pats fans. I've been alone for a long time, so that would be nice.
Yeah, you don't have an accent they wouldn't let you in.
They would adopt me. It would be okay.
I imagine you did not make too many friends at Mizzou with wearing your Patriot jersey around on weekends?
I didn't wear it much. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I wore it much. I think one of my favorite memories was last winter break. The Pats were in Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl, and we won in overtime. And that was the night before second semester started. And I just remember getting down that Monday and being out with my buddies and at the bar and just not holding back on them. That was a lot of fun. So that was one of my only opportunities to do it, but definitely enjoyable.
All right. Well, awesome. Now, last question. So what advice do you have for an incoming student coming to college as they're kind of looking at the landscape and thinking about, or that they're going to be coming down to Mizzou? There's a lot of PR people that go to Mizzou now. What would you recommend for them?
Yeah, sure. I think that's a tricky question just because, everyone's path is unique and it's their own, and, everybody has different interests and, goals for themselves. So I think the best thing that I can say would just be to open yourself up for challenge and, don't expect things to go exactly how you may have planned them in your head. And if you can be adaptable and can think on your feet and open to new experiences, then, there's nothing you can't accomplish and, won't succeed in. So just be open and be ready for things not to go your way, and you'll be okay.
Well, on that note, amen to that. And just want to thank you for your time, for being a great example of excelling at PR, taking it to the next level, and looking to have a nice, healthy career ahead of you on the advertising side. So,
Appreciate that.
Wish you nothing but the best, Ben.
Thanks for having me.
Everybody just clap your hands. Clap your hands, everybody just clap your hands.
I think that's the nature of college. If you really want to have a relationship with professors, that's up to you. And if, that's really something that you need to pursue hard, just because there's so many students that they have. It's not like high school where you're, really intimate and close with your instructors. So, I've had professors that I really liked and were funny and, taught me a lot, but I wouldn't say there's, anyone that stood out or that I had a really close relationship with or anything like that.
But I'll tell you, probably that experience you went through, as you seem to say, probably prepared you now for, as you come up for these kind of political issues that might come up in organizations or places that you might work. You're probably going to be better equipped to navigate that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, you hit it spot on there. I mean, I was having to talk to, the university, our house corporation, the guys that ran the house. There was our national office that I had to talk to. And so there were all these different entities that all had, they had their own agenda during the whole thing. And so it was a really interesting experience to navigate that and just sort of see the political nature that can come out in situations like that. So